Hi, I'm Charles, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can start the process of making 2 quarts of wine for less than $2 using only 10 minutes of your time. Okay, so what are the ingredients you need to make wine? 3 simple ingredients. You need juice, you need sugar, and you need yeast, and that's all there is. Now, in terms of cost, I paid 99 cents for a 2-quart bottle of juice. I had to go to the store anyway for sugar, so I paid $2.38 for a 4-pound bag of sugar. Now, there are 8 cups of sugar in this bag, and I'm only going to use just 1. In terms of yeast, a 3-pack packet of yeast cost me $1.34. I'm only going to be using 1 of these. That brings my cost down to 45 cents per pack. Total cost, $1.74 plus tax. Now, when selecting your juice, make sure it's 100% juice. Take a look at the ingredients label. It should say nothing more than juice or juice from concentrate and ascorbic acid. If you start seeing anything other than that, such as potassium metabisulfite, which is a preservative, or any other type of preservatives, put it back. That's just going to inhibit the growth of your yeast and cause things to take a whole lot longer than it should. Well, okay, now that we know what we need and how much it costs for us to get it, it's now time for us to start doing it. First thing we're going to do is just go ahead and open up the cap, and we're going to pour off about a cup of the juice. No need to be precise, just about a cup. And the reason why we're doing that is because we are going to pour in a cup of sugar. And that's roughly about a cup-ish. So we'll go ahead and we'll pour in the sugar. Way. Go ahead and put the cap back on, because what we now need to do is we need to dissolve that sugar. We want to make sure that all of it's been dissolved. By the way, this is the hard part. We need to make sure that all of that sugar has been dissolved. It might take about a minute. Make sure the cap is on tight. It might take about a minute. But while you're in the process of dissolving the sugar, you're also incorporating a lot of air into the juice. And that's a good thing, because your yeast needs air to breathe. And while it's breathing in that air, the oxygen, and eating up all that sugar, it's going to be producing both CO2 and also alcohol, which is what we're really trying to do here. So we'll go ahead and get that firmly dissolved so that there are no crystals falling out towards the bottom. It might take a minute or 2. Just want to make sure you do a very good job of it. I mean, it's not like super critical. I mean, if there are a couple of crystals down at the bottom, it's not the end of the world. The yeast will find it. The yeast will eat it. But it's more so getting that juice oxygenated, so that they'll have something to eat and live on. Just about there. All right, that's it. Go ahead and open it up. And our next step, we're going to add the yeast. You don't need a lot of yeast. I mean, yeah, you could pour in the entire packet, but you don't really need to, because quite honestly, you don't need that much yeast. It's not going to make the job any faster. What we're going to add is about a 1/4 teaspoon. And all you need to do is just sprinkle it on there. like so. We want to add back as much of that juice as we can, because let's just be honest, this is going to be wine. So let's add that back in. To about yay high. Let's put the cap back on. Now, as far as the cap is concerned, you don't need to tighten it back up the way it was when you originally got it. What you want to do is just tighten it, but then turn it about a quarter of a turn. And what you're trying to do is that you want to leave enough of the cap open so that when you squeeze it, you'll be able to get some of that air out of the jar or out of the bottle. Because when your yeast starts producing all of that CO2, it needs some way to get out of this bottle so that it does not explode. So we just loosen it up just a little bit, just enough so that little gnats or bugs can't get into your wine, causing it to turn a little funny. And basically, that is that. You just put this away somewhere out of direct sunlight, preferably someplace dark, and just leave it alone. You don't need to shake the bottle. You don't need to do anything further to it. The yeast is going to start multiplying, and eventually, over the course of the next 12 hours, it's going to start producing CO2. And that is that. Now, in about 5 days, 70% of the alcohol that your yeast is capable of producing would have produced it. You could, if you really wanted to at that point, start drinking it. I would suggest waiting around for a little bit. And the reason for that is this. This batch of apple wine I started roughly 8 days ago. And one of the things that you'll notice is that the wine has changed colors a bit. It's gone from being the color of the apple juice that you first started seeing it as, and now it's something just a little bit more milky. It's a little bit more opaque. It's a lot whiter. And basically what that is that's all of that yeast that has multiplied, and it's been eating up all of that sugar and consuming all that oxygen. It's been producing CO2 and alcohol. And in the process of all that agitation that's been going on in the bottle, it basically hasn't allowed the time for the yeast to settle down to the bottom. After about a couple of weeks, bring that over. After a few more weeks, you'll notice that a lot of that yeast, dead yeast, has now settled down to the bottom. And the juice is now becoming, or in this particular case, the wine is now starting to become clear. The longer you wait, the clearer it will become. My next video, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking about some of the ways in which you can accessorize your winemaking. I think you've already noticed that these little things sticking out of the top of my my 1 gallon carboy. It's a jug, but basically they're now called carboys. It's now got an airlock with a bung in it. That's one of the first small accessories that you'll probably end up doing. That'll be my next video. Following that, if you enjoy this video and you think that it's been helpful, please subscribe and click the notify button. And once a week, probably on Sundays, I'll kick out another video and see if that can help you in your winemaking journey move forward. Until then, see you later.